Hello and welcome. Thank you for listening. My name is Sarah Baumert. I'm a yoga teacher, Feldenkrais practitioner, and host of the Sarah B. Yoga podcast. The Sarah B. Yoga podcast and my practice, Body Matter, is an interdisciplinary learning space where we explore the many ways that movement can help facilitate body acceptance and awareness, reduce pain and stress, regulate the nervous system, and build strength and ease. My teaching plays with the synthesis of Feldenkrais awareness through movement lessons, traditional yoga asana, creative imagery, breathing exercises, self-massage, and a compassionate mindset to help you feel a greater sense of ease and comfort in yourself. Sarah B. Yoga and Body Matter have a lot of other program offerings. These podcasts are just a taste of my teaching. Each week I teach a range of online classes, including a gentle yoga class, a level 2 class for more advanced students, and Feldenkrais classes with monthly themes, anatomy lessons, and Q&A sessions for more in-depth study. I have 2 new online series offerings for the fall. A Feldenkrais series titled Coming to Your Senses, an exploration of the spaces of the eyes, the mouth, jaw, ears, vocal and breathing apparatus. And my second course, Wakeful Body, the blending of yoga and Feldenkrais on Monday nights. As one student recently described Monday nights, that felt like I just gave myself a massage. So these fall classes will be a continuation of some fan favorite stretching sequences that incorporate bolsters and other props to enhance the poses. There is still plenty of time to join these courses live or via the course recordings. You can find more information about these offerings in the show notes. Okay, on to today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Welcome to the Sarah B. Yoga podcast. This podcast is an intersection of my yoga teaching and my training in the Feldenkrais method. Today's class is a short yoga and Feldenkrais blended class with a mini yoga nidra shavasana at the end. So grab your mat and yoga blanket or towel. You will roll up your yoga blanket to create a cylindrical bolster that we will use to place across the upper back. Okay, let's get started with class. Welcome. Let's start in a comfortable seat. So you can be kneeling, you can be cross-legged, maybe you're already there. Little something underneath the pelvis is always helpful. And just bring your hands down to your legs so that the arms can rest comfortably. Maybe the hands are together, whatever feels right for you, and let the eyes close. And so with the eyes closed, letting the senses, the eyes in particular, really draw inward and, yes, move into that darkness of the inner self, only that it's different in terms of having the eyes open versus the eyes closed, not that your insides are this dark place, but letting the attention of the eyes draw inward, almost as though you can listen with your eyes. Gently listening to the inhale come through the nose, the air moving through the back of the throat, expanding the lungs. And following that air as it exits. Inviting the legs to soften, the weight of the pelvis to drop, to root downward. And sensing the spine like this sprout energetically reaching more towards the sky. Not too much ambition, but just enough that you feel the flow or the reach of the spine headward. Bringing your attention to the soft, smooth inhale, soft, smooth exhale. And inviting the brow, the forehead to soften. The jaw, the lips, even the tongue. Great. And then gently open the eyes and interlace your fingers behind your head. Point the elbows straight forward. Great. Now give a little push of your head back into your hands, but it can be quite subtle. Just so you feel the tiny bit of effort pressing back towards your hands. Now keep your left hand behind your head as it is and bring your right hand to your left elbow. And with your right hand, think as though you're pushing your elbow backward. And you can actually push a little bit so that you move your upper arm bone back. And bring your attention to your left armpit. Can you pull the left armpit back towards the wall behind you? And you're looking for just a little bit of engagement at the left scapula. Like it will move a little towards the spine. And the left side of the chest might also feel a little bit of width, but this is somewhat subtle. So you could feel it again by first come out of it, push your elbow towards your hand, and then let your hand push your elbow back and think of the armpit or feel the armpit moving back. Great. Okay, let that release. Bring both hands down. Pause for a moment. And then bring your right hand behind the head. Let the right elbow point forward. Your left hand can come to the elbow. And with your left hand, push the elbow back towards the wall behind you. Feel the upper arm bone move back, but keep your attention at what's happening with the armpit and those ribs underneath the armpit that can slide back. Great. And then let it go or reverse that by moving your elbow forward into your hand. And try it one more time. The hand presses the elbow back and the armpit moves back. Great. Good. Exhale, let that release. Okay, we'll keep expanding upon that idea a little bit. I'm going to have you grab your blanket and roll it up. Got one here, just a single blanket roll. And then have your blocks also, once we lie on our back, you can have your blocks handy. All right, so this single rolls will go across the upper back, not right underneath your armpits, right, but just a little bit lower than that, small amount lower than that. And then hopefully your head can reach the floor. If it doesn't, you could slide a little something else underneath that, or you could even make the blanket roll a little bit smaller. Okay, and then if you can, take your arms straight out to the side. So your arms are in more of a T shape, and your arm bones shouldn't be on the blanket, slightly farther down the spine than that, just slightly. Right. So feeling the width here, even reaching your arms a little bit to the sides of the room, so the fingernails, the backs of the knuckles might slide a little bit wider. Have your feet standing with your knees pointed towards the ceiling, the feet about hips distance. And on your breath in, reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. And then let your left hand continue to arc over to the right. Eventually, go slowly though, your left hand will meet your right hand. But as you do it, can you keep your pelvis heavy Now, the left side of your pelvis will probably need to lift off the floor, but continue to feel it heavy so that as your left hand keeps reaching for your right hand, your knees don't tilt over to the right. Yeah, and you may need to pick up your head. You may feel like that feels a little bit better to, for sure, roll the head to the right and maybe even lift your head. You might be looking a little bit between your two arms. And see if you can slide your left hand a little bit beyond your right hand. Maybe enough that you could bend your right elbow and the right hand could grab the left wrist. So reaching this left arm fully across the body, feeling the blanket giving some pressure into the right side ribs. Good. And then on your exhalation, think about bringing your lower back, the left side of your lower back, towards the floor. I'm not saying it's going to reach the floor, but it's like a little bit of a cat spine in your lower back area. And as you do that, you can even start to drift your knees to the left. It's the subtlest, smallest amount. Let your knees drift to the left as your left arm keeps reaching across to the right. Good. Let go of your left wrist with your right hand. Bring your head back to the floor if it's lifted. Open that left arm. Arc it towards the ceiling and back out to that wide shape. Just pause for a moment. Feeling what it's like to let go of that pressure or compression on the right side from the blanket. And then lifting the right arm towards the ceiling. Actively reach it first to the ceiling and then continue to reach it over to the left towards your left hand. And you can slowly do that transition, that arc. For me, it feels best to kind of lift the head here and actually bring the chin a little towards the chest as if you're looking through that space between the arms. And so as the right arm reaches across the body, keep your pelvis heavy. It's okay if the right side of the pelvis left the mat. Most likely it did, but continue to drop it back, have the intention to let it fall back towards the mat. And then the left hand can take a hold of the right wrist. And you don't even need to pull too much. It's more like that hand there with the smallest amount of help to reach your right arm. Just allows the right arm to kind of fall into place. Right scapula can widen. Softening of the ribs here, even a softening of the sternum. Imagine that the sternum could sink a little bit farther back or deeper into you. And then as you exhale, let your lower back round a little bit towards the floor. So you may feel the lower belly engage. And your knees can softly drift to the right an inch or two. Good. Exhale. Let go of your right wrist. Bring your head back. Open that right arm back up. And come back over the roller. Right. Okay. Now interlace your fingers behind your head. If you feel like you need to kind of shift on your blanket at all, please do. So fingers are interlaced, nice and kind of tight right up to the webbing of the fingers. And then point your elbows towards the ceiling for a moment. And remember what we did with one hand on one elbow and this idea that the elbows are going to move back towards the floor so that your armpits deepen back. Feel a kind of specific engagement of the upper back when you do that. And then keep the armpits moving back as you widen the elbows again. Good. On your exhalation, lift the head with the support of the hands. Let the forehead curl towards the pubic bone And as you come up, seeing your legs, press your feet a little bit into the floor and think of your pubic bone curling towards your forehead so that the whole length of the spine gets involved with this flexion, this rounding. And then as you breathe in, let your head drop back, let the elbows stay wide, open, and wide in the inhale breath across the chest. And again, exhaling, lifting the head, bringing the forehead and the pubic bone towards each other, feeling the feet root into the floor. And as you inhale, let your head drop back, elbows widen. Okay, so we're going to keep the elbows wide and feel how the back of your head is in your hands. You'll turn your head to the right and bring the right ear into your hands. So as much as you can get the right ear, it might be more like halfway to the right ear. The head is turned to the right so that something like your right ear might rest in your right palm. Yeah, and then just pause here and let the length come into the left side and see if you can relax the right side of the neck. Let go of any unnecessary work in the tops of the shoulders, the base of the neck. You could let your mouth be a little open so that the jaw is free. And on your next exhalation, use the help of your hands to lift your head. Your head is still turned to the right. So you can think as though you're directing your left ear towards your pubic bone, and your pubic bone tries to come towards your left ear. Yeah, whatever amount of twist in the neck feels appropriate. And then inhale, slowly lower. We're going to do that one more time with the head biased to the right like this. So as you exhale, lift the head, think of your left ear and your pubic bone coming towards each other. Yeah, feel your feet push a little into the ground. And then slowly lower back. Great. Bring your head back to neutral for a moment. Feel where the back of the head is. And you'll try to place your left ear where the back of the head is. But that's where we're going. So it might be an approximation of that. It may be that your left ear is just in your left palm, or maybe you can't turn the head quite that far without some kind of discomfort. So we're looking for a little bit of a stretch, a lengthening on that right side, but nothing that you can't breathe through and soften into. As much as you can, keep the elbows wide. Feel the inhale breath wide from armpit to armpit. And on your next exhalation, really wait for the exhale. So as the air exits, lift the head. Think of the right ear and your pubic bone coming towards each other on exhale. And as you inhale, the head lowers back down. You're still looking to the left. And again, exhaling, empty the lungs as you lift the head, bringing your right ear and your pubic bone a little towards each other. And then inhale, slowly lower. Good. Bring your head back to the middle and roll to your side, gently, carefully. Okay, let's swing the legs around, come up to your hands and your knees. Keep your pelvis over your hips. Take a moment to walk your hands forward for dog and prayer. Now, the forehead can come to the floor. You could slide one of your blocks under the forehead. That feels a little bit better. Keep the hands firming down as the pelvis reaches back. Great. Inhale, come forward and walk your hands back so they're right underneath the shoulders. Turn your toes under and press back towards downward facing dog. So starting with your feet hips distance. If you're working with a little bend of the knees, continue to feel the hip creases move up, the thigh bones move back. Good. And then in this down dog, turn your head to the right in any amount. Keep the arms strong. Then turn your head back to center and turn the head to the left. The nose points towards the left shoulder or the left arm. Good. And slowly come back to the middle. Inhale, come forward towards plank and lower your knees and slowly lower all the way onto your belly. Okay, let's bring the hands under the forehead, rest the forehead onto the hands, untuck the toes so the tops of the feet are on the floor. And slowly start to float your right leg up towards the ceiling, keeping the back of the knee long. Keep your pubic bone rooted towards the floor as the right leg lifts. And that rooting of the pubic bone down into the floor makes this leg extension more about your leg and your hip and less about your lower back. So see if you can maintain that action of the pubic bone dropping into the floor, even pressing into the floor. There's nothing wrong with our lower back helping our leg lift. We just want to focus in on what is our hip extension right now. So hip extension, that anatomical movement, is when your leg, your thigh bone goes behind you, behind your pelvis. And the lower back often helps with that action. Yeah, and your right leg is still in the air as I'm just chatting away here. Okay, lower that right leg down. Now, before you even lift the left leg, can you root your pubic bone into the floor? And you might feel like a little tucking of the tail, or you might feel your buttocks engage, and these are correct sensations that will go along with pressing the pubic bone down. So maintain that as you start to float your straight left leg up. Really feeling as though your thigh bone can move back. The left buttocks is firm. There's a reach through the ankle, through the toes. Good. And gently let that release. Okay, keep your forehead on your left hand, free up your right hand and your right arm. Now bend your right knee, bringing your right heel towards your sitting bone. And reach back with your right hand for the top of the foot or the ankle. That's a hard reach. You can grab your strap and gently draw the right heel to the outside of your right sitting bone. At the same time that you do that, can you root your pubic bone towards the floor? Okay, keep the breath expansive down into the low belly so that your inhale breath moves all the way into the front of your right hip. Even a little bit of pressure from the diaphragm can go into the front of the right hip and the right quadricep. Great. Gently let that release. Bring your right hand underneath your forehead. Free up your left hand. Bend your left knee, bringing your heel towards your sitting bone, and reach your left hand back for the top of the foot. And slowly draw your heel towards the outside of your sitting bone. And while you do that, keep the pubic bone rooting down. So again, that may feel like the tail tucks a little bit or the buttocks engage. And, all that's doing is it's just tilting the pelvis in such a way that it's inviting those tissues in the front of the left hip to lengthen. Great. Slowly let that release. All right. Now, keep your right hand where it is at. Turn your head to the right
so that your left ear is on your back of your right hand. And your left hand can be kind of anywhere off to the side. Won't involve that left arm too much. So again, your head is turned to the right. You're looking at your right elbow, and the left cheek or the left ear is on your right hand. Now, the back of your hand and your head are going to stay glued together. And as you breathe in, expand your belly, feel your belly push into the floor, and float your head and your right arm up. Yep, so that's your breath in. So it's spinal extension. Good. And then slowly lower the right palm and the head back to the floor. And do that again. On your breath in, expand your belly. Think of your belly actually pushing into the floor. And that push of your belly into the floor is what floats your head up. Good. And you exhale lower. Going to do it a couple more times. As you do it, as you inhale and float your head up, let your eyes peek towards your right heel, like you want to see over or behind your right shoulder. You're looking towards your right heel. As you exhale, you lower. As you inhale, really wait for it. Let the belly press towards the floor, float the head up. The eyes peek towards your right heel. Good. And this next time that you lift and your eyes peek towards your right heel, float your left leg up. So maybe your eyes continue to peek towards that opposite leg that's lifting. Good. And lower down. We'll do that one more time. Lifting the head, the eyes look over the right shoulder as you lift your left leg. Great. And let it go. Stack your hands again. Bring your forehead to both hands. Okay, now reach your arms straight forward. We'll get to that second side in a moment. So the arms are straight forward, palms are on the floor, forehead is hovering, face is hovering. Grip the floor with your hands. Lift your head enough so that your eyes can look right between your hands. Now, let your hands come towards you, maybe an inch or two. Keep your elbows straight and plug your scapula down your back. So you've lifted your chest a little bit. You're in kind of a small Sphinx pose or Cobra pose with straight arms. And keep pressing your hands into the floor so that when you pull the floor towards you, it's like both arm bones move back, your armpit area moves back, and your scapula can drop down. So the sides of the neck get very long. And with your arms, you're looking for the sensation of length and reach along the belly. If you're not feeling that, you might walk your hands a little bit closer towards you. Right? If you decide to do that, just making sure that the arms stay straight and the scapula drop down. Yeah, nice, everyone. Take one more inhale breath here. And then exhale, slowly lower. Turn your head to the left, and you'll place your head onto your left hand, the back of your left hand. Your right arm can just come out to the side, maybe easy cactus shape, or just anywhere comfortable to the right side of you. So with the head, turn to the left like this. On your breath in, feel your abdomen expand into the floor and allow that to float your head and your left arm up. And then exhale, slowly lower. So with your breath, breathing in, the belly, even the pelvis is what pushes down to allow the head to float up. As you breathe out, you lower down. Let everything rest for a moment. And inhaling, the back of the hand and the head stay connected. And you can start to peek with your eyes over your left shoulder, like you want to see your left heel. And just feel what engaging the eyes, how does it start to involve other muscles in your back? Great. We'll do it a few more times, adding the right leg. So as you lift the head, peek the eyes over the left shoulder and float your straight right leg up. Exhale, lowering. One more time like that, lifting the head. The head is turned to the left, and as you peek with the eyes, maybe the head turns a little more. Lifting the straight right leg up. Great. And slowly let that all lower. Now reach your arms forward again. So same thing, lift your head a little bit, look between the hands, slide your hands a little bit closer towards you, 3 or 4 inches. Push into the floor with the hands. Drop the scapula down. Let the spine grow as if your neck is growing from your middle torso, and pull the floor towards you with your hands. Good. Keep pulling the floor towards you. Keep dropping the scapula down. Turn your head to the right. With your eyes, look to the right, looking towards your heels. And turn your head back through center and turn the head to the left. Nice, free, easy jaw. The eyes look towards the heels. Good. And exhale, let that all release. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Push back to a child's pose. Your knees can be close together and right underneath you. That will create a little bit more rounding of the back. So opposite of what we were just doing. If that feels like too quickly to go into that opposite action with the spine, you can let your knees be a little wider, which will allow the spine to be a bit more in a neutral place. Great. Now lift the head, walk your hands back towards your knees, turn your toes under. Take a moment to press back into Uttanasana. Let the arms hang. And coming back to that soft, smooth inhale, soft, slow exhale. Experiencing the weight of the head. The weight of the head inviting the tissues of the neck and the upper back to lengthen. Good. And then start to firm your feet a little bit into the floor. Feel all the toe pads, the big toe mound, the heel, 4th, 5th toe mound. Engaging the kneecaps a little bit, the quadriceps. And on your breath in, lengthen towards a flat back. Let your hands slide up the shins. And as you exhale, fold forward. And again, inhale, lengthen to flat back. Think of your ribs sliding forward, your thigh bones still rooting back behind you. Good. Exhale, fold. One more time like that. Breathing in, lengthen, hands slide up the shins, the shoulder blades move down the back. And then exhale, fold, and let your hands walk back out to down dog. A firm press of the hands into the floor, keeping the thigh bones rooting back. Great. And exhale. Slowly lower your knees down.
Make your way onto your back for Shavasana. Take a moment to grab whatever you need. You can turn the lights down or find something to cover your eyes with.
Allowing your limbs to really quiet down. Feel their weight. Relaxing the tips of the fingers. Center of the palm. Sensing the length all along the front of you from your pubic bone all the way up to the top of your sternum. Letting the brain begin to soften. The forehead wide. I'm just sensing your expansive inhale down towards your belly. Feel how you meet the blanket and how that pressure into the blanket changes or responds to your breath. Begin to notice the sounds that are most prominent to you. See if you can listen for sounds that are outside of your home, outside of the building that you're in. Feel what that's like for the ears to seek for a sound that's very far away. And that might even bring into your mind's eye the environment that is outside of your building, your home. And then slowly let your ears be more interested in sounds that are a little closer to you inside your room.
And as you do that, you may imagine your room, the wall that's to the right of you and to the left of you, how much space there is there. The wall that's above the head and below the feet. As well as the distance between you and the ceiling. And the contact, the touch of the back of you and the floor. And from there, slowly let your ears continue to come closer, draw inward, listening for sounds that are coming from your own self, your breath. Perhaps there's sometimes some sounds from some movement in the digestive system and the belly. Allowing the ears to listen very gently and drawing inward. As the limbs are very quiet, more or less still, a sense that gentle, calm wave of the breast. May, and among the miles of leafing, blossoms storm out of the darkness. Windflowers and moccasin flowers. The bees dive into them, and I too, to gather their spiritual honey. Mute and meek, yet theirs is the deepest certainty that this existence too, this sense of well-being, the flourishing of the physical body, rides near the hub of the miracle that everything is a part of, is as good as a poem or a prayer, can also make luminous any dark place on earth. Just sensing that light, that luminosity inside of you, the movement of your breath, maybe taking a few deeper breaths as you're here, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, and turning the head a bit side to side, feeling the freedom, the softness of the neck. Great. Maybe even a little movement of the corners of the lips to the sides. And then when you're ready, rolling to your side, coming up to a comfortable seat. And bringing the palms together. May you be free of inner and outer harm. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be healthy and strong, and may you care for yourself with joy. Take a breath in and exhale. Namaste. Are you enjoying this podcast? I've chosen to offer these audio recordings freely for over 15 years. I do this because research shows yoga, yoga nidra, and Feldenkrais to be valuable practices, those which I would like to share widely. Dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, has always been a pillar of my business. And more generally, dana is the inclination to give without expecting any form of repayment. It does, however, take a fair amount of time, effort, and cost to maintain and keep the podcasts available. If you feel you've benefited from what you've learned from these classes, then please do consider making a contribution towards the maintenance and upkeep of the classes. It will help ensure that I can continue to offer the podcast classes freely and keep generating new material. Give what you can, give what feels good. If it's too little, it won't feel good. If it's too much, it won't feel good. Links to support the show monetarily can be found in the show notes. And other ways to give include sharing the podcast with others, leaving a 5-star rating and review, or just sending me an email with how the classes have affected you. Thanks so much.